What's up, guys? What
Hey,
is up?
how you
Um,
doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good. Good
Good.
for a Monday. We have, this is something that we don't do live. We kind of do like a pre-recorded Beyond the Pit, right? But we haven't done one of those in a long time. So this is cool. Just refreshing, We'll see we turn the cameras on and we see where we go from here, right?
Yep. Just kind of
Um,
riff.
yeah. So anybody who's joining us, we have our chat going on. So again, we're just going to be just talking about what we've been doing besides Comic-Con, because I think our interests have been into Comic-Con for this whole week, right? Like what's happening, announcements. I know I've been spending a crap ton of money on toys.
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, and pre-orders and everything. Mando Mike checking in. What's up, man?
What's up,
And
man?
yeah, we got to hang out with Mando Mike this weekend. Went to go see Deadpool and Wolverine, which we'll get into in a couple moments here. But just kind of want to test the waters here on a live Beyond the Pit, man. We do a live toy show. We do our live Star Wars talk. So, you know,
Yeah.
other than Comic-Con and Deadpool and everything, have you been watching anything like that's out there, like TV series wise?
Right now, currently the TV is taken over by the Olympics. So we've
oh,
got
there you go, Olympics. Okay,
yeah,
all right.
we've got a lot of because I have a beach volleyball player in the family, and my sister used to play junior Olympic volleyball.
Yeah.
So we're a big volleyball family. So there's a lot of volleyball that we watch, and swimming always. So
yeah. It's a lot of fun, and where we're at, of course, in 2028, it's coming in our front yard, where we live. It's always considered LA's backyard. So
yep,
just say, okay,
I guess that would make LA's our front yard.
LA's our front yard. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I've been to the Salt Lake City Olympics in 2002, if I remember right. Which is I didn't want to go. Like I was kind of like, it's whatever thing. And as soon as I got there, I was just like taken aback about this world event that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like it was after it was the first event after 9/11, and it was the high security, high everything, right? I mean, air travel is still restricted. It was like a weird time, just like coming out of COVID. It's a weird time,
Mm-hmm.
but it was so fascinating for me to walk around in the Olympic Square with all the athletes are walking around and the pin trading and the vendors. It was just kind of like cool, man. And the whole city was,
vibrating.
Yeah.
I didn't know that pin trading was a thing for the Olympics.
It is. So my parents went in 1984 when it was in LA.
The LA games
last time. Yeah. And my dad came back with the pins and everything, and they were telling me about it. And I still have all the pins from those Olympics, and when my dad went, he showed me pins from like the 70s and like other games and other from around the world. Like people were trading it, and it was the whole thing. Everybody was just trading pins. And as a collector and an addicted collector, I was like, oh, right. I want in, right? So
that's awesome. No, I've never been to an Olympic game. We've always big Olympic watching family, so my mom always tunes in. I guarantee you right now in East Texas, where my mom's at, she's got the Olympics playing right now, right?
Oh, that's
so it's everywhere, and
that's great,
Julie,
man.
We record the whole thing, and then we fast forward through all the commercials,
do the highlights, and just kind of that's the best thing to do. It's cool, man. I can't wait to do it. I can't wait to go and like see if you guys want to go and hang out and just
heck yeah, man. Let's do it.
How electrifying it is in California. We need it here. Cool. We need something around here to do. Something. Right?
Yeah. So
Felipe
there was that big.
In. What's up, man?
Oh, what's up, Felipe? Yeah. How's it going, man? A big controversy was the opening ceremonies.
Of
the Olympics, right? Because I watched them, and very artistic, very, very bizarre, just very freaky. And
as the French do.
Right. It's like know the audience, right? I mean, and who's putting it on? It's all art. It's all, I guess they did one scene where it was like the Greek bacchanal and some kind of a feast, but everybody perceived it as being the Last Supper. And so everybody's upset that they were doing the Last Supper, and it wasn't. It's crazy.
I agree. There's a time and place for everything, right? And I think I know, like everything nowadays is a message board. The Oscars, any award show, any Super Bowl, all that stuff, right? And sometimes it's just like, guys, let's just sit back and let's do something. Let's just watch, right? Like I've watched many Olympics closing ceremonies open, and it's more or less about the country itself and the culture
exactly.
Right,
that's the whole idea. Everybody's gathering in France to participate in not only the games, but also the culture of the host country.
Right.
That's the whole purpose of having a host country.
Right.
So here you got everybody coming here. We're filming this thing. It is very French. Very French.
Yeah.
And
Mando saying good thing art is subjective. Yeah, I mean, tell that to the rest of the people that, and again, you just kind of for me, I just let the French let them do their thing. This is what they wanted to present. Cool. All right. But I've been watching the swimming and the diving and track and field next week. I'm into it, right? So
yeah. And it's really cool that the camera, because we were just watching swimming, and I want to say the USA swimmer came in third, and even with the first and the second, they were all hugs, man. They were all hugs and high fives and congratulations. Right. Everybody is there to just get out there, kick ass, and represent as best as they can. That's right, and man. It's inspiring.
It is inspiring, and it is it makes you take a step back from all our problems, all the politics that are involved in different countries, like what's going on in Russia and what's going on in Israel and here and everything like that. It makes you take a step back and be like, this is what it's all about. This is what it should be all about. And that's honestly why we do our podcast too, because we're here to talk about everything we're doing pop culture wise, mainly Star Wars, but like, of course, beyond the pit is everything else. And what brings us all together as just fans of everything, right? So, but yeah, so I've been watching Olympia. I'm looking forward to the breakdancing. I want to see the breakdancing. First year breakdancing is the thing. And at first I was like, what? And then I was like, well, if they have synchronized swimming, if they have gymnastics, which are the dance or the stylized gym, all that stuff, I'm like, well, yeah, well, why not?
Yeah. It's funny because you got breakdancing, you've got skateboarding, you've got swimming, it's speed and agility and skill, athleticism, right?
Yeah.
And then you've got that with surfing, but at the same time with surfing, you're also dealing with Mother Nature, and it's like, I'm watching it going, okay, so you've got a bunch of people sitting in the water waiting for just the right wave, and
and that's
getting boring.
Yeah, and that's why I tried watching it. I was like, just wait for the highlight reel. Felipe. Breakdancing is the first year that breakdancing is an official Olympic Games, and I think it's August 5th, if I'm not mistaken. And I can't wait. I can't wait to see just to check it out. The energized.
And speaking of American culture and whatnot, the fact that Snoop Dogg is there on site, just cheering on
time of his life.
I know that dude is living his best life.
He really is, man. He really is. It's like
crazy. He's getting adopted by all the families that are there, right? So it's always Snoop Dogg with Simone Biles' family,
right?
Or somebody else's family. It's funny. It's great.
Yeah.
Felipe says his Shark Attack.
I wonder how many points of Shark Attack are close, but I don't want to wish that. It is Tahiti, 10. And it is kind of like probably known for that warmer waters and stuff. Felipe, my kids don't believe I used to break dance. Do you still break? You should break out the moves, man. Do you get the cardboard box in the living room there and start to
show them what's up, man? Record it. We all need to see what's up, Felipe.
Yeah, it's funny because like our age group. Well, I always see I don't know. I'm dating ourselves a lot, but I was the younger kid growing up in the 80s, right? As the older kids were in someone else's garage and with the boom box breakdancing, and I would be sitting right there with sitting on my skateboard watching all the big kids do this, and then they leave and I would try the moves and everything, and afterwards. Oh yeah, and but it was just fun, man.
I remember it was what year did Breakin' come out?
I was like 80,
84, 85,
80, yeah, it has to be.
So I I remember being at my friend.
And
yeah, I remember being at my friend Jeff's house, Jeff Tarrant in Baldy Mesa, California, and we were watching Breakin', and I'm 10, so we're watching Breakin', and it's on VHS, and then his parents leave, and he and I break out and just start mimicking, trying our best to do the dances in the living room.
Yeah,
and boy, that did not go well.
No, like I said, dude, as a youngster, being looking at all like what the bigger kids are doing, and everything, it's like very suggestive, or sitting there going like, okay, I'm gonna try this too, and then you kind of like, Mom, my neck, and then Mom goes, get in the room, get in the house. Yeah, it's like shut up, get in the house. It's
oh, God.
It's great, man. That's the great thing about. I've always said this too. It's like it's a great thing about what everything is out there today for us. G.I. Joe, Transformers, Star Wars, Marvel, DC. It's the same stuff that was out when we were kids,
Yep.
Yeah. It's great, man. Alexander Storm checking in. What's happening, guys? Yeah, Mike. Breakin' 2, Electric Boogaloo. Yeah, dude. Everybody tried to walk and had to walk on the side of the walls and then on your ceiling and come over as you're break dancing. But yeah, I mean, like, we went to the movies this weekend and saw Deadpool and Wolverine, right? And we knew exactly what this movie was going to do. It's going to be another Deadpool movie, but the big difference was, and I am completely still shocked over this. The big difference is this is 100% Disney. This is 100%. The executive saying, yeah, go for it, and not even water it down. It was actually worse than Deadpool 1 and 2.
It was. It was the body count and the blood spatter. Yeah.
So sorry, anybody who hasn't seen it yet or whatever, but we're gonna, if we talk spoilers, just to be fair warned. But yeah, what a fun movie! What like a refreshing movie it was, and I thought, like I've always said, I thought like Deadpool gets kind of tiring at times during the movie, like one and first two movies where it's like, all right, we get it. It's like you keep making the same sexual jokes over and over and over, but it gets old after we start talking about it. But during, I'm like, hey, this is great. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it was great, and it was so complete. I mean, okay, Disney Plus, they've got now Deadpool and Deadpool. I almost said Breakin' and Breakin' 2. Deadpool and Deadpool 2, right? And there was a little special I decided to put on this morning that was like a little behind the scenes of Deadpool 3, right? Deadpool Wolverine.
Right.
I'm like, okay, it's a little behind the scenes thing special. And you open it up and immediately it's F-bomb this, F-bomb that.
Really?
Like, oh, even the behind the scenes on Disney Plus, it was like, bleh.
That's
great.
Like,
it was great.
Yeah, they really lean into it when they lean into it, right? No one watches Artie. What's up, man?
Artie, I'm gonna put our email address in the chat real quick. Artie, I want you to email us because got to get your prize out to you.
Yeah. For those of you checking in, our Beyond the Pit series is something that we always kind of talk about. We have this like open talk after our show, after we do our Star Wars show, and we just figure, you know what? Sometimes we just need to record it because we feel like there's a bunch of gems in there, right? So our Beyond the Pit is Star Wars, and then there's everything else. So the big thing that's happening right now, again, like I said, Deadpool Wolverine is the highest grossing rated R film for opening weekend. It broke its record. It broke record.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I was kind of like proud. I was like, yeah, Disney, because Disney. We always, or a lot of people always think they go one way and they're very, hardcore about whatever, but then they greenlit this and they went all in on it, like you said, with the behind the scenes and with the movie itself, with the gore, the sexual innuendos, and not really content, but like the gore and the language was mostly what it was rated R for, and it didn't disappoint, man.
No.
So we got Rhino Hobbies checking in.
What's up, Brado?
Yeah, the fourth wall breaking was a bit too heavy. Yeah, no, that's where I agree with you. Like the fourth wall thing, it's constant. And that's where I was like, when we start talking about it, I always kind of go like, yeah, but sometimes, I just want to get into like a Marvel story, right? But I will say, that this movie had a lot of heart in it. Like there's some heartfelt moments between Wolverine's story and Deadpool's story, where it wasn't just a shoot 'em up fest and progress it along. It actually had, and I think that's where like Disney could sit there and go like, all right, look, all right, there's some underlining great story, right, or story character development in this, and that does it kind of in watching the movie. There is a balance to it. It was like as soon as it was so hardcore, it brought us into the heartstrings, back to hardcore heartstrings, all the way down to the end, right? So, do you think Deadpool is going to be in any other movie though? Like, do you think?
I think so.
And if it is, it's not going to be an R-rated Deadpool.
R-rated Deadpool will be reserved for Deadpool
his solo movies.
Solo movies. I don't believe that we'll get an R-rated Deadpool in like the Avengers. Okay, number one, we went into this thinking that Deadpool and the TVA and the timelines and the way that Deadpool was able to skip into different realities was going to somehow connect everything, and it did not. It did not do this.
No,
which is I think still a missed opportunity. I think
I did because their trajectory, MCU, meaning it was this whole multiverse and the Kang Dynasty, Quantumania, Doctor Strange, right? They were trying to weave this multiverse story into it, and they did a 180, but they're still trying to force it in without, like we said, with Deadpool, it could have been like a snap of the fingers, boom. And now we have like
one like unified universe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
almost, they were like hinting at it, but it never fully went that way. And might be a reason because that might have been reserved for a Avengers or something like that because of a R rate. You know, this movie where it's not going to be your normal family friendly movie, right?
Right.
I don't know what their thinking is on that.
I do think that if we get Deadpool in, say, an Avengers movie or a mainstream X-Men movie that's now done by Disney, that is, you know, the PG-13 rated thing, I could absolutely see Deadpool getting bleeped, which I think would be freaking hilarious.
That would be awesome.
Would be,
yeah.
Because I don't know if you remember Adam Sandler, his piece of shit car song. I forget.
Yes.
I forget.
I remember. Yeah, it was on his album.
I think it was called. Yeah. The first time I ever heard that, it was on our local radio station, and they bleeped it. And the number of F-bombs and everything that's in that song, it was so much funnier.
Yeah.
Than the actual song itself.
I like that a lot, and I do believe if Deadpool is in the future movie, I think he's not going to have a huge part. He'll be there and he'll be fighting and doing stuff, but it's not going to be where, you know, if he breaks a fourth wall or anything like that, I don't think it's going to be as heavy-handed, you know.
Yeah.
And
I could absolutely see Deadpool going, you know, saying something, having it bleeped, looking at the camera, going, "What the bleep was that?"
Yeah. Like, so right now? So I can't do, so now we're back to normal. Like, that would be funny.
That'd be funny. Alexander Storm says, oh wait.
But also, Artie, I think they are overdoing it's a way that the multiverse thing, to me, I always hate it, even growing up, but I understand the need for it in the comics, because how many times did you kill Captain America just to bring him back? Kill him, bring him back. Same guy, different guy, same guy, whatever. So the multiverse actually enables you to bring it into a whole new era, a whole new everything. Like, you can erase this Earth. Well, I'm talking DC, you know, this Earth, and you go into this Earth, and Flashpoint could, you know, whatever. It was a very easy reset button that they were introduced, you know, multiverse in Marvel and the Flashpoint and the different Earths in DC, you know, and
even DC animated stuff right now, the animated movies, they're doing Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Right.
The third part just dropped on Blu-ray.
It's almost like Marvel's Secret War. It was almost like Disney's or Secret Wars, right? That we're going to get into what Crisis on Infinite Earth is. It's like DC's version of Secret Wars.
Right. DC did it in 85, where they had the multiverse, and they decided that it was too complicated, too confusing. Let's destroy everything and put it all into one Earth with one united timeline and go from there.
Yeah.
And it did wonders for DC. It made DC actually you could jump in as a new reader from any point at that point.
And I'm okay with that. If Marvel did that, if they took Secret Wars, I know there was Secret Wars and Secret Wars 2. And I remember the two multiverses colliding into one time in one thing, and that was like part of that Secret Wars plot. And the Russo brothers say, we are doing the Secret Wars, we are doing it. And you know, when after they do Doomsday and fight, you know, everything that you're reintroducing in this next phase, they are doing that, and that actually gives us a whole new timeline era where you can bring Iron Man back, maybe not as Robert Downey Jr., maybe as somebody else, and have this complete different story or whatever. At some point, they're going to have to get away from Earth 616 with the Avengers and Endgame and Thanos and the snapping. They're going to have to get away from that because it's going to get so far in a distance, right? Where they're going to need a whole brand new story from the ground up going forward. You know, with all the IPs that they have now and all the characters they have now, they could have really done. I mean, Endgame was a feat in its own, right? But imagine if the X-Men were involved, right? Imagine all the characters that they could have had. Like Wolverine had a huge part in the comics, you know, that they couldn't use, you know. So did Adam Warlock, which they didn't. Anyway, I digress.
Yeah,
but anyway, but I thought it's really cool how they do it. But yeah, I mean, sometimes it's too much of a good thing. You know, a multiverse fixes a lot of issues, and it brings a lot of avenues back into storytelling. But at the same time, we want progression. You know, if you kill somebody, kill them, keep them dead. You know.
And I want to see Captain America teamed up with Wolverine. You know, that's the problem that you've got with the multiverse. You've got the X universe, you've got the Avengers universe, and I was hoping, and like Alexander Storm said, he thinks that's what Fantastic Four is for. Yeah, since that film is set in the 60s, they are probably waiting for that film to clean up the whole multiverse mess.
Well, here's the thing, Alex. Like, I saw the leaked trailer that they dropped at San Diego Comic-Con. I don't know if it's, and I saw the whole thing, and I don't know if it's up there anymore because I tried searching for it again. But it is not Earth with 616. It's another multiverse. I don't know if it's the 1000 like in Deadpool. I don't know if it's that Earth, but it's set in the 60s. But it's the futuristic 60s. So if you like, somebody mentioned
Jetsons almost.
Yes, it's the Jetsons. In the 60s of art. So their future is here, and it has like robots and flying car, everything. So that is so interesting to me because it's that retro 60s what Disneyland, Tomorrowland used to kind of have that feel. I was like, that is awesome, because then that's a different Earth. And then Fantastic Four and X-Men exist over here, and of course Avengers exist on our Earth, and they're going to merge the two with, like I said, with Secret Wars, right? So dude,
Tomorrowland has been stuck in the 60s for decades, right?
Yeah. Bring us that.
What a perfect reskinning of Tomorrowland.
I agree, man. I agree. Wow. Like, I saw that trailer and I was just like, I'm in. Like, I was like, okay, this is interesting because it's not the normal. It's not the norm. And I was like, that looks amazing. And I'm all in for that.
I've got very little knowledge whenever it comes to Fantastic Four. I know who the characters are. Unlike the rest of the Marvel universe, right? I know the Avengers, I know Wolverine and the X-Men because I've read those comics. I never got into the Fantastic Four. So I'm really looking forward to this movie and having the retro 60s vibe to it. Kind of almost like the Incredibles did, right? Because the Incredibles, even though it was set in our time, you know, it had that retro 60s vibe to the style.
And I think it's fantastic. I honestly, because it reminded me of like, you know, fantastic. It's almost like that WandaVision, like when the early episodes, when it goes to the 50s, 60s, 70s, right? Yeah. I was just like, I saw that trailer and I was like, because the title on the San Diego Comic-Con, it had Fantastic Four and it had Avengers Doomsday, then it had Avengers Secret Wars, right? But the Fantastic Four had that a different look to the title and had that very retro, you know, futuristic, but that Fallout almost kind of like that 50s and 60s vibe to it, you know. And so to hear about the entire world is in that setting, in the 60s, in that setting, so everything is that look, in that round look, you know, like I said, they have the Jetsons cars. It's just like, okay, I'm in. Like, I am all in on it.
Did you see that in the Void in Deadpool Wolverine? They were driving one of the Fantastic Four's vehicles, and it even had that sound to it whenever it was
I love
flying.
It,
dude. It was
like,
great.
so I'm not familiar with the Fantastic Four in the sense that did the comics. I mean, I know about them, and it was all about Super Friends on was it the Super Friends on the cartoons when they had the Fantastic Four in there? And
no,
Spider-Man and Friends. That's what
Spider-Man
it was.
Friends, yeah.
That's my level of knowledge when it came to growing up with these characters was the cartoons. It wasn't necessarily in the comics, so I'm wondering, did it originate in the 60s? Like, I know it was written in the 60s, so
it
right?
did. It was it was. I believe it was Stan Lee's first creation. Don't quote me on that. But I'm pretty sure the Fantastic Four was his first creation.
Sure. Yeah. I mean,
so. Oh, I see the logo. That is excellent. Even the Marvel, the way Marvel kind of looks like the
great,
old Brax candy. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, that's on purpose. That is 100% on purpose. We're going to have to try to find that.
I'll share that image so we can all take a look at it.
I thought that was freaking awesome, man. Like,
it is awesome.
I like it when the MCU does this kind of stuff, and again, with the multiverse thing, it gets very convoluted and gets very yeah. Oh yeah. So Felipe dropped in 1962 Fantastic Four. Okay, cool. So that makes sense. And I don't know if, like I said, if the comics itself were a futuristic comic, you know what I mean? Like, did they have that vibe that this movie's going towards, or is it like this decision that they're making?
It was all kind of the space race. It was all
it had to do with
the Cold War and the space race and all that. So
yeah, because I know the story and how they got their powers, and I know know that stuff. And we've been promised a Fantastic Four for a long time, right? But again, Marvel,
a legit one,
pivoted. You look at that, and again, when I saw that at when I was watching the Comic-Con stuff, I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I really didn't put it together until I saw that leaked trailer.
Yeah. Now I need to see it. Now I want to see the leaked trailer, and it's disappeared.
I forgot where I saw it. It was just kind of like there, and then I tried to start and it was gone. But somebody recorded, had like their phone right here, and saw the Galactus at the end.
Come on now. Yeah, I'm excited for it. Now this talk of the Fantastic Four. Now we are going to get the spoilers about Deadpool and Wolverine. It leads to one of the cameos that we had in the Void.
Yeah,
and
look, this movie did a great job with the cameos, and I was all like, I knew there was going to be cameos in it because again, we were kind of like doing our Beyond the Pit talk in line and everything was like Deadpool. Even Deadpool called himself Marvel Jesus because resurrecting Marvel again, right? And even mentioned, hey, look, it's a low point at Marvel. Just take the L and let's move.
That was great. That was great.
So I knew that we were going to get cameos because I figure, all right, they're just going to throw everything to the wall because they're just going to reset it, right? They're just going to reset everything so they can kill all these people and do whatever. But yeah, having Johnny Storm, again, spoilers, in it, and how it was kind of flipped around a little bit where we thought it was
Captain America, and then he throws back his hood, and instead of saying Avengers Assemble, he says flame on.
I was like, that was awesome because again, same character played it. That was cool.
That was great. But it's funny because
the trailer was before the Marvel panel in Hall H. Alex, did you see it? Because again, I saw the leaked panel or the leaked one. I wonder if D3 they're gonna present it because it is coming out next year.
I wouldn't imagine that we're gonna have some sort of sizzle reel or some kind of
they'll have to
teaser trailer,
do something with Marvel at D23, right? Like, here's what our next phase is, because again, how they're pivoting on Kang Dynasty, they're just scrapped it all together, and then they're going with this Galactus and Secret Wars, basically.
Which,
Alex saw it. I was blown away. I was like, I'm in. I love retro sci-fi. I love it. Like I said, I brought up the Tomorrowland because that's what I remember as a kid going to Disneyland with Tomorrowland with that retro sci-fi, the bucket seats, the colors, Art Deco, and yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, Felipe, I lost my shit when certain characters came out. Seriously, didn't expect it. Like, all right, Wesley Snipes' Blade.
Yeah.
You know, we still got Elektra, Channing Tatum as Gambit, and I didn't know
that,
this, but
that was great.
And
Channing Tatum he had the accent down. Deadpool was like, I think we're gonna need some subtitles here. I can't understand a word you're saying, man.
Yeah, I love the Minions reference, like something like oh, you're talking Minion language or something. I was like, all right, this movie's off, you know, it's just off the rails right now.
Yeah.
No one watches already Fantastic Four number 48. The Coming of Galactus was a stuffed comic dreams. I mean, you know, I want to get the graphic novels, you know, that encompasses those eras, and I really do want to delve into it. I did that with a lot of the Iron Man stuff.
Okay.
I was familiar with Endgame and Infinity Wars because I read those. I read those comics. I even have some of them, like the series, you know. And I read them as they were coming out. So I was, and again, it was like this huge world. I did, so I had to go like kind of refamiliarize myself with like Iron Man and all that stuff just to catch up, you know. And I want to do that with Secret Wars. I want to do that with Fantastic Four. It gets me interested into it, you know. And I love that fact that the MCU could do that, you know. As we're hardcore Star Wars fans, but at the same time we love it all. And I could talk DC. DC is you and I we like DC a lot more.
Yeah. I grew up reading DC comics. So for me, it wasn't until Tobey Maguire became Spider-Man that I'm like, you know what? I haven't read a Marvel comic since it held the license to G.I. Joe and Transformers. I haven't read a Marvel comic or a Spider-Man comic. So I went, you know, in 2000, I went nuts, or 2001, I went nuts, and I just read Spider-Man, Avengers, Captain America, Hulk, the X-Men, Wolverine. I got into all of it. Deadpool. I had a ton of Deadpool comics, and I wanted to familiarize myself with the properties. That way, whenever, you know, eventually I had a podcast, I could talk about it with some sort of knowledge. And here we go.
It's always fun to kind of go and explore it, and then because again, what the MCU is doing, it's almost like what Walking Dead did, right? You have the Walking Dead comic, and you have the Walking Dead television show, which same universe, same characters, just different outcomes, different plots, and different ways they do it. And that's what is exciting for me, because I feel like I can read, say, for example, I can read Secret Wars, and it probably have a different outcome of what the show is. So you get two different versions of it, you know, of what we're going to be presented. And I felt that's kind of cool, because anybody can go and just research or read the comics or go online and learn all about what they're doing, but having it done in a creative way of like putting it in now, right? And like I said, like Earth 616, how are they going to make in this main timeline? I think that's what's interesting to me, and that's why I kind of get excited when these things, you know, pop up, like the Marvel panels and whatnot.
Because you don't really want a word for word, panel for panel, shot for shot interpretation, because otherwise you could just go read the comic, right? Which I mean, that's where I think The Walking Dead went a little too far, as they were they kept doing a lot of random stuff and adding things and killing different people, and that's where it kind of lost it for me.
Yeah, because they did the whole Game of Thrones things where they're catching up to the books. Like, you know what I mean? He's like, slow down. We can't slow down. We got seasons, we got people, we got an audience. And then like the writers are like, look, but we're not done with the storyline, and you're already completing it for us on the show. You know? And so they were adding factions and like, all right, well, so we're going to add the wolves. We're going to add, you know, the cannibals. We're going to add all these things in the show. That
kill Carl. Everybody. Let's kill Carl. What?
Well, that was BS, because his family didn't want him in it anymore.
Anyway, you know, we digress.
We get sidetracked.
How many people in the pit have seen Deadpool and Wolverine yet? I'm curious to know if you.
Yeah, I think for the most part, everybody here has. I mean, it looks like, I know Alex did. I know. Well, Rhino Hobbies is in there too.
Rhino Hobbies, Felipe. He did. I don't think Artie did. I don't think Artie did, because Artie says he hasn't watched any of the Marvel Disney movies. Yeah,
he's saying, honestly, I've not watched a single Disney Marvel movie. Wow. Okay. I saw the Tobey Maguire Spidey movie for the first X-Men, but I prefer my Marvel in 4 colors and 8 panels. Yeah, like I said, with that, like I said, you can watch that's why the MCU is different, right? It's a adaptation of what you read as the comics. Like I said, what the Infinity War saga is 22 movies, 10 years, 22 movies. And it does it in a way that it's different than reading the comics, because the comics, the Infinity Wars, the Infinity Saga is different because of all the characters that were involved and the outcomes and the reason why Thanos is doing. It's like a complete different story,
Yeah.
So I would say, like, if you wanted a different look on it, the Disney Marvels are great, and it's a great watch. Like, there's some really good movies in there, kick it off with Iron Man and do it in order of release. My opinion is, if you were already, I don't know, like, if you wanted to delve into that, right, do it in order of release, because I think it kind of makes it's cool to jump around a little bit.
I could see that, because post-credit scenes could get a little confusing for the ones at a time, right? Like 100%. Captain America is set in the 40s, but the post-credit scene is set in the the 2000s. Nice. Captain Marvel is set in 1985 or something like that, or 1990, something like that.
Yeah, like I said, I would watch it orderly, because again, you're right. What they're setting up in the movie sometimes references other movies that haven't been out yet, and if you watch it chronological, you might miss some the way we watched it, and I thought it was fun to do that, referencing things that haven't come out yet. Came out.
Seriously, Iron Man to Endgame, and even past Endgame, whenever you get Spider-Man No Way Home, and those Spider-Man movies, they'll kick you in the nuts, man. Those
Spider-Mans are good.
Great movies. Those are great movies.
Great Jedi. Yeah, Great Jedi said he hasn't seen it yet. But he brought the Darth Sidious today. Nice. My Darth Sidious shipped today, so I should be getting it by the end of this week. So I'm cool with that.
Yeah, mine's right there. That's such a great figure.
So Great Jedi. We talk in if you don't mind spoilers, we're not going to go like plot the plot on Wolverine Deadpool, but we might say things like cameo here and there. So I just a fair warning.
So the reason I was asking if anybody had seen it is I want to know what everybody thought, on a scale of 1 to 10, what did you guys think of Deadpool Wolverine?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And as you're putting your answers to Laxative Rack checking in, everybody better hit that lack button for
What's
the
up, Lack?
Thank you, man. Thank you so much. And you know what? I've been watching your channel too, man. You guys are doing some cool stuff over there too. So it's always good to see, what everybody's up to.
Lack is giving it an 8.89. That is a very specific number, right?
That is like, it's not quite an A.
8.89.
It's still in the B range.
That's great. No, personally, I'd probably give it a good solid A-, B+, A-. It was a lot of fun, but it lacked the connectivity I was hoping for by the end, which is on me. That's not on them. It's what I expected.
Right. Well, also, we don't know, again, if everything was said and done, then that's a different score. But because we have other things coming out, and as sitting in a movie theater and as entertainment, I was like A+, dude. Like, this was, I was grinning, I was laughing, I was like, I said, like, heartfelt moments were there. I was having fun, even with the fourth wall breaks and all that stuff. And I was like, man, this is cool. I miss going to the movie theaters and not being worried about connecting and being very critical and stuff. Just kind of like enjoying it. And I did enjoy it, and then after, what we do is we talk about it, and then we go, the impact, as far as impact, it wasn't as an impactful thing, but it had some very cool moments that kind of set the stage for pulling in characters any way they want to.
Yeah.
It could be dangerous, right?
007 favorite part was the 5-foot Wolverine. No doubt, man.
The montage of him finding Wolverines was the best. Was hands down the best. I wanted it to be like 20 of them. I wanted it to keep going, right? I mean, it was so fun. Every scene was like this. and then we got our Henry Cavill Wolverine, right? It's like so funny, dude.
I love the fact that he started off by going to the Ultimate Wolverine, to the Logan timeline.
Yes,
and he's digging his dead body out of the. I mean, this is the opening salvo of the movie, right? He's digging out Wolverine's dead body
from Logan,
thinking that's not how regenerative powers work. He's going to be fine. And he pulls up a skeleton with hair coming out of it and everything. And he's like, well, shit.
Yeah, he's dead. He's dead. Yeah.
And then he straps his claws onto him and comes after the TVA guys. It's just, the first 5 minutes of this thing is a bloodbath. If you have any preconceived notions that Disney has watered down Deadpool at all, that first 5 minutes right there where he's stabbing people in the nuts is with Wolverine's claws.
I actually because I was sitting next to Chris at the end, I go, that's a Disney movie. As far as like they greenlit this whole thing. They're making fun of themselves. They're making I thought it was classy that the end credits or during the credits they had a sizzle reel of all the
it was good. A retro,
that was like, because it was like a respect thing, right? Yes, they bought 20th Century Fox, and it was kind of like, look, they did a lot of work on these films before Disney took and made a cohesive timeline. And and with the multiverse things, it all matters. It all happened. It's all one. It's just different multiverses, right? So, but I thought that was cool as an homage and a
it was very heartfelt.
It was, man, because all those films, like I said, I don't like half of them, but I enjoyed. I love the time that was in, because it was like we didn't have Marvel movies before that, and when we were getting X-Men and Spider-Man and Fantastic Four and all that stuff. There's a lot of work that goes into them, so that paying that respect of like, look, because Deadpool is very brutal on 20th Century Fox, the characters and Disney, but then they go like, look, it's all about, you're in our family now, and Deadpool is almost like your rite of passage. Yeah, right. Yeah. Like if Deadpool makes fun of you, then you're in the family, right? and the line of Hugh Jackman's going to be playing Wolverine till he's 90.
Yeah,
that was great.
And he just kind of bends over in his ear. You're
90, like that. It's too good. You're too good, especially with the old school Wolverine costume.
Yeah, and so you did have the Deadpool core that was there, and I saw that Blake Lively was Lady Deadpool. So
right.
That was cool.
His kids, Ryan Reynolds' kids, played Kid Pool and Baby Pool.
That's so cool. And then there was I'm a huge, going back to the beginning where we were talking about sports. I love Welcome to Wrexham. Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney's show about how they bought a soccer team, a football team in Wales.
Right.
And there was one pool walking who had the Wrexham dragon on his chest.
Yes.
And it was the Wrexham flag and whatnot. I'm like, oh, of course there's a Wrexham pool. And then I saw behind the scenes today that it was one of the players. It was like their top player was actually Paul Mullins was Welsh pool.
That's cool. That's so funny, dude.
It was awesome.
I like Nice Pool. Nice Pool was funny.
Nice Pool was funny.
He didn't have the
he didn't have the regenerative power. He didn't have the
regenerative power. So
when are you gonna regenerate? What's that? Oh no.
Oh man, yeah, it has had a lot of cool, like, it was just funny, dude. Like the actions were second to none, dude. They were so good.
Yeah, they were wonderfully choreographed. The action scenes were great. There's a a battle that takes place on a bus where it's Deadpool and Wolverine against all the other pools, right?
Yeah.
And only Nice Pool doesn't have regenerative powers. The rest of them have regenerative powers.
Yeah.
So you're looking at the bus from the outside, and they're kind of showing you some of what's happening on the inside.
Yeah.
But the amount of blood splatter that's
blood
hitting
and
the
bullets
windows of the bus and body parts and just
it was the
heads. Oh my
it was
God.
Deadpool's hallway scene, right? It was his hallway scene
in a bus.
It's so funny. No one watches already. Yeah, in the 80s, there was talk about making a TV movie with Wolverine, with Lou Ferrigno, Hulk, and rumor that Danny DeVito would be playing Wolverine. Yeah, because Danny DeVito has the comic accuracy. That should have been in the montage too. He turned around and like, what?
That would have been because there's still people. There's still people out there that say Danny DeVito would have made a perfect Wolverine. On what planet? Just because he's got the short stature, he was never buff.
Wolverine is 5'3". Okay, short, yes, but Danny DeVito is like 4'3".
he's Hobbit sized, man.
Yeah.
It's I know there was also a lot of rumors that we were going to end up seeing Daniel Radcliffe as a Wolverine. That didn't happen, which that's cool. That's cool.
No, because I'm sure it was all on the table when they made this movie.
Sure.
They're like, let's just do it all, right? The short. I love it. It was so funny. I like it. Like, it didn't take itself too serious, but again, we were kind of looking into those, like, how was this going to tie into like, I'm glad the TVA was involved in it, and it kind of made it made a little bit of sense, like, but because of the multiverse things, right? There was all this talk about, like, when Disney bought 20th Century Fox and how we're going to bring X-Men into the MCU, right? Because the first 10 years they just went on these stories without any mutants or X-Men, besides Wanda and Quicksilver and a few here and there, but and the ones that they I guess that Sony didn't have the rights to, but I'm always looking at, because the era of the X-Men in MCU could be absolutely epic, right? And I was hoping, this is my hope still, that I hope it's not like, when they do it, I hope it's not just like Wolverine and Colossus and Megasonic. And I hope it's not just a few. I hope it's like proper X-Men, Storm, Jubilee, everybody.
A new Cyclops,
Xavier, everybody. I hope it's not just a few that are intertwined in this bigger story. Like, I really do hope there's a proper X-Men in it.
Wouldn't it be interesting because we did have X-Men First Class, which was also set in the 60s, because you had the Cuban Missile Crisis and whatnot. Wouldn't it be interesting if it was the same 60s that the Fantastic Four is happening in? And they've
already kind of separated that because
they all grew older and stuff. And
because of the Fantastic Four movie is a different technology era. Thank you. Technology era to where we got flying cars. You know what I mean? So it's already a different world. It's already a different Earth. You know what I mean? It's already
interesting.
It's kind of cool though that they did do, like, there's the proper timeline, and then you have branches that are going on, but it's, as long as we preserve 616, as long as
sacred timeline.
The sacred timeline, which is kind of like, okay, cool, because then you pull in here instead of like, all right, let's just move to this one, or let's move. No, we're gonna pull in to make the sacred timeline.
I did find it interesting though that we had no Mobius, so Mobius didn't show up, which was unfortunate. I was kind of I was hoping for that, but I also was kind of hoping for a Loki cameo in it, and that didn't happen either, because Loki is the TVA now. Right?
Yeah, I was expecting the TVA to be green.
So was I.
That's one thing I was like, why isn't this green? Like, what are we doing?
But the main villain in this was really cool. Cassandra Nova, who, if you're unfamiliar with the X-Men comics, Cassandra Nova, the way she uses her power was perfectly depicted in this film. And she was just much, much, much younger than the Cassandra Nova in the comics. So she was a really cool threat, and the way she did Johnny Storm, she did him wrong, man. That was,
abrupt skin removal thing, guts, and it's like, whoa, dude. No one watched it exactly. Like, that's the great thing about what we're going to see. We're going to, like I said, the Secret Wars movie pulling everything together with the Beyonder. Creates a world of different parts, different worlds and everybody's gonna die in it too. So that's the thing too. It's like, you're gonna kill them all in the Secret Wars adventure, but then are you permanently killing them, or are you gonna just pull them from somewhere else? Like, you know what I mean? Like, because in the comic, that's what happens. they all die. Not everybody, but they're there to fight to the death kind of deal. So you're going to start pulling in characters. And that, again, that's one way to reset things. That's one way to pull in. Like I said, you can you can redo Tony Stark, right? Well, he's dead already. So by the time Secret Wars happens, a new Tony Stark from a new actor. I mean, if they really wanted to, I'm not saying that that's what they should do, but like they could do that. Like, I don't know. Daniel Radcliffe comes in as Tony Stark, and now he's, you have 10 movies of Tony Stark and Iron Man again.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah. Heroes Reborn. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's, it's a lot of fun. It's interesting, man. Cause like I said, they're doing the pivot, and what San Diego Comic-Con introduced was like fantastic. The next 3 years, Fantastic Four, then Doomsday, and then Secret Wars back to back to back. Which is going to be cool because 2026, like besides Fantastic Four next year, that was like the only movie I was really looking forward to, because all the movies that we're seeing in production is all coming out in 2026. Star Wars and Avengers and all that stuff. So I'm kind of glad that next year is shaping up a little bit. To have some cool movies.
That's a great question, Felipe.
Bring it up. Bring it up. All right. So what the big announcement at Comic-Con was Robert Downey Jr. is back and playing Victor Von Doom. And it's confirmed that he's playing Victor Von Doom, not Tony Stark.
That's what they said on stage. They said, I couldn't think of anybody else to play Victor Von Doom. And that's okay. So, and hopefully there's
like a tweet, like a tweeted confirmed, like, no, he's playing Victor Von Doom. He's not being possessed by Dr. Doom, or it's not Tony Stark playing Dr. Yeah.
It was one of the Russo brothers on stage said, "Oh, we could only think of one person to play Victor Von Doom." And I mean,
they must have an idea. Like what Gray Jedi saying, I'm not a fan of it all. Yeah. I think we were just kind of like, why? I'm hoping that there's a plan in place. I hope that because a lot of times when we do this with Star Wars all the time, right? They'll throw us an idea and we're like, no. And then all of a sudden it plays out. And I'm like, okay, it played out pretty good, for the most part. And so it's almost like taken out of context. Like, boom, here is Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom.
Yeah.
And then we have an Avengers movie called Doomsday, right? They stole that from DC, so but there's an Avengers movie. It's not a Dr. Doom movie. It's just called Doomsday, and it takes place after Fantastic Four. So you got to say maybe their announcement obviously is taken out of context, plucked in there to see this reaction, and now we're gonna have to see it played out, and it might make sense. It might be like, all right, I got it, so we'll see.
Well, they did this with Doomsday. I'm sorry, with Deadpool already, right? They went to a different universe and found Henry Cavill as Wolverine, right?
Right.
Every other Wolverine was Hugh Jackman, but Henry Cavill was one of those Wolverines. We've also we've been to another universe where, Jim from The Office was Mr. Fantastic. And now we're going to see, Din Djarin is going to be Mr. Fantastic. There is no reason why we couldn't see Robert Downey Jr. playing somebody else. It's just the way the multiverse works, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be an adjustment. And like I said, at first he did great as Tony Stark and Iron Man. Great. Absolutely. But I thought it was a great ending too. It's like, and I know that to me, here's the way you start thinking is this, like, all right, guys, for the last 12 years, this is what we've made so much money. We've done all these movies and we had all these, great responses, and the crowd is just, MCU is revitalized, Marvel and all that stuff. So now our next phase, we didn't have any of that stuff. We're actually like on like the third benchers, coming up to try to make these, epic movies, which those characters are just not as epic as the original Avengers, right?
Yeah.
So they're like, all right. And part of me, it kind of like thinks like, a little cynical. We're like, well, let's try to recreate what we did then. So now we're going to reuse some actors that we're going to go forward with. And I hope that's not the case. Like I said, I'm all about story as a consumer. I'm okay with endings, meaning I'm not the business. I'm not a business. So if I could take 40 movies and put it on a shelf and I go, here's the beginning, middle, end, I'm good with that. I don't need 40 more, because if it's one big cohesive story. Now, as a business, they want 100 movies, right? They want it all to be successful, and they want this thing to never. That's why they invented the multiverse. That's why they invented Flashpoint, and and all these things. And so as there's a point where what's going to happen is that the generation that grew up with the Infinity Crisis stuff is going to kind of like phase out, and now you're going to have this new era where they're going to see Robert Downey Jr. as a bad guy. I don't know. It's interesting to see it play out, though.
Okay, so look at it this way, right? If we are going to do a Heroes Reborn thing, or we're going to do a Secret Wars thing, we're getting a Victor Von Doom that is Robert Downey Jr. in Doomsday, that's all leading to this Secret Wars movie. If it plays out like it does in the comic book, where everybody goes there and is a complete reset of the universe,
right?
We could have all new actors playing.
Where
Victor Von Doom, Captain America, Spider-Man.
That's where I think it's going, because
yeah,
Secret Wars. They came. The Russo brothers said, we are doing the Secret Wars, like we're gonna do it. Meaning we know the source material, and that's where we're leaning towards. And you're right. This is a way to usher in a brand new era of. Just like the comics, right? It's just a reset button, and then go now. But like I said, then usher in the X-Men, like bring it proper, right? And
it would just it would kind of suck though to have this amazing Fantastic Four movie that's set in the 60s. We're assuming it's amazing. That's set in the 60s in this retro futuristic 60s setting, and then all of a sudden and it's over. We're starting over again. What's going to be the new kickoff? Because Iron Man was the kickoff of the original Marvel.
Iron Man was the kickoff. Like I said, X-Men proper, meaning you go into where you have Charles and you have Magneto, Magneto and stuff, and they had developed their ideologies, and they go off and I don't know.
We've
seen this story a million times, but
and we MCU, talked about that. We talked about that in the past, is that you had Magneto, whose family was murdered in the Holocaust, and you can't do that anymore because you've passed that time now.
Yeah, especially if exactly. Especially if we're if the MCU follows today's time, like if it's 2005 in the movie, it's 2005 now.
What's the new catalyst?
Right.
So what's the new catalyst? What is it that brings? Is it the civil rights movement?
It doesn't. I mean, for his character, he has a specific life trauma going forward, but it's also his ideology of mutants and Xavier's ideology of humans and coexisting. Right. That's the same. So it's going to be the origins. And is that going to be the dumpster fire, changing the origins? Because
it's not to be that guy, but it kind of has to be done, because otherwise Magneto's going to be over 100 years old. It's going to be a stretch, right? So
I mean, we talked about that too, right? Like there was rumors of Denzel Washington playing this is years ago. I'm talking 5-6 years ago, and that puts it in an era of civil rights, right? That would be like okay. In the Magneto origin story, it makes sense. Like that would be the trauma and moving forward like that. That's where you can create a brand new character, We got Ultraman. Check it in.
Know that.
I see other people in the chat. I see you guys' comments and stuff. But so Felipe is saying, I feel like people forgive it in time just the way they forgive Josh Brolin playing Cable. You didn't like that? Like
all right.
I mean, he was the voice. He was the voice and the motion capture of Thanos, but he really wasn't Thanos, right? Like Johnny Storm and Captain America. It's like it wasn't, even though it was canon, non-canon. I like Josh Brolin. He's good.
Too.
Yeah, a Cable movie would be actually kind of cool to kind of explore too.
That would be. X-Men 97 did a pretty good job at exploring Cable in a little bit of depth. But
you saw the new Captain America trailer, right?
Yes.
So
I saw the one that's at the theater right now.
Yeah. That's the one, right? So the Giancarlo that's playing the bad guy in it. He's gonna be the serpent. What's it called? He's playing like one of the main villains. It was like the Serpent
Society
yes, Serpent Society. I forgot the name of the character, but it was almost confirmed that he's going to be he's playing that character, and so we might see that transformation. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Like, that'd be kind of cool. I'm all about this. I'm all about high fantasy. I like high fantasy. I don't necessarily like grounded movies. Just like how I feel like you and I have, like, I see you wear G.I. Joe. I think you and I have a different. We all both love G.I. Joe, but we grew up differently with G.I. Joe. In a sense that, and this makes sense going forward, that like the Captain America movies, high fantasy and stuff like that. I don't want to see human forms. I want to see their mutant forms. I want to see their, alien forms like that, because I don't know, growing up as a kid, I appreciated that so much more. Like I said, with G.I. Joe, I watched the cartoon, and the movie was everything to me. You know what I mean? The G.I. Joe, the movie. And so I want to see lasers and Serpentors, and I want to see Dr. Mike. I want to see these high fantasy characters.
And I read the comics where people were getting their heads blown off.
You read the military. I mean, they were in, those characters were in there, but they were more militant and more grounded too. That stuff. So
Larry Hama was a Vietnam veteran who wrote about his experiences, and that's what G.I. Joe was. And wrapped up in a pretty picture. So
like I said, you and I have like same road, different paths to an appreciation for an IP. Because again, I'm all about, like I said, and so I want to see Marvel move in that direction too. Like that's why I really like the Endgame stuff, because you were getting out of Earth and we're getting to Thanos' world and the stuff. It was kind of cool, and that's where it's comic books. That's comics, right?
Yeah.
So that's where I was kind of going with Captain America, because Captain America to me was boring until you get to the cool, interesting characters.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so, yeah.
Now, Artie, in UK, the 80s G.I. Joe was called Action Force. Yes, I have a bunch of Action Force comics. I've actually got some Action Force. I've got a bunch of Red Shadows. I've got a the Robo Skull. I've got all those toys, man.
Yeah.
They had some good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have a real American hero being appreciated overseas. So that's why it's Action Force. Yeah.
International heroes, man.
Right. International hero. Yeah. So let's see. Lactivrac is love Action Force, especially Baron, Iron, Blood, and the Black Major.
And Black Major. Yeah.
I never got into that because again, we had
Yep. Tell you what, you come over to my house, we'll look at the comics. You can play with my Action Force toys, and
all right. Yes.
Cool.
We do play with our we do play with the toys. I still have your G.I. Joe comics, right? Because again,
you do.
It was the thing, like, I didn't grow up with the G.I. Joe comics. I grew up with the cartoon and the movie, the cartoon movie, and the toys. Right?
I think you've got volumes 4 through 7.
I got 4, 5, and 6. Yeah.
4, 5, and 6. Okay.
Yeah. They're safe. They're safe.
Damn it.
But as I'm reading, I love it. I absolutely love it. So like, I feel like I'm catching up on some things, especially I can like recreate real death scenes from the classified series.
Dude, just wait until you get to issue number 109 where Doc
I'm almost there.
Doc looks over a little piece of dirt, right? He's in a ditch and he looks up and he gets his head blown off.
It's crazy.
I'm like, oh my God.
The worst thing that happened in G.I. cartoon was Duke got shot.
No, Duke was hit with a snake.
That's what it was. The snake.
Yes.
Yeah, the snake.
That was it. In a coma. He's gonna be fine.
People still parachuted out of the Rattlers. They still, did not. They missed everything, and it always cracks me up with GI Joe. It's like every figure comes with like an arsenal that could destroy a small village, and nobody dies in GI Joe except for the comics. I understand, but what is that you told me? Like the reason why a lot of the deaths happen in the comics is because Hasbro was like, we want these other characters to push, so push these other characters. And so Larry Hama just like, all right, we're killing off these 5 and we're moving. And they're like, whoa.
Once the toys went out of production, he had full carte blanche to do whatever he wanted to do. And like the Battle Force 2000 guys, he blew them all up with one single bomb. And Serpentor was killed by Zartan with an arrow between the eyes.
Yep.
And dude, it was brutal.
Yeah.
absolutely brutal.
I wish IPs had the guts to do that today.
Yeah,
I really do. And
I wish Larry Hama had the guts to do that today, because Larry Hama, he has written it for so long that he's actually forgotten the characters that he's killed off, and suddenly they're back.
Oh,
and so he's got to go back and figure out how they survived, and then it's like he cannot fathom a story that does not have Snake Eyes in it.
Right.
And he killed off Snake Eyes, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be interesting. What did he do? He transferred Snake Eyes' essence into a girl, and then there was Snake Eyes' apprentice became the new Snake Eyes,
right?
Who had his face burned and he lost his vocal cord, so he was Snake Eyes Part 2,
right?
And then that wasn't good enough. He has the real Snake Eyes reborn again. So there are 3 Snake Eyes right now in the new. Oh my God! I'm like, I can't even, dude. So I am not.
It's Skybound series. Is that the G.I. Joe? Is that the?
It's Energon. It's the Energon universe. So it's I think it's G.I. Joe, Transformers, and I've heard great things, but we don't have a comic store up here, so I have nothing.
That's the thing too. The Origins, New Gen when Transformers Origin series come out, and a movie.
Yeah,
an animated movie. That's the thing about it. It's kind of tough with us. I mean, we have to get our comic news, from other sources, because up here we don't have that. It's not ready available, which sucks. You know what I mean? It really sucks for us up here, but but anyway, I think we've ran the gambit here. I know we're going to talk a lot more about Wolverine Deadpool as it marinates and everybody gets in there. So let's go ahead and wrap it up for this Beyond the Pit.
Sir,
because we could go on for hours, days even. Because if Chris was on here, we'd be House of Dragons wrapping up. We got to talk about that. I mean, Karate Kid, Cobra Kai. There's a lot of stuff.
I forgot
Rings
about
of
that.
Power is coming out, next month, end of next month. I can't wait for that. So, you know what? Everybody in the pit that joined us today, thank you so much. This was, like I said, we usually do these things that are pre-recorded after our shows on Wednesday. We decided, let's just turn the cameras on and talk. Like this, nothing was planned. It's just going over what we're doing. So
obviously, we spoke about the Olympics at the beginning.
I mean, who does that? Like what? Why? Who does that? But it's fun to just kind of turn the webcams on and talk sometimes. Yep. So thank you everybody in the pit. That you guys are awesome. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't. In the description is all the links to all our affiliates and everything and sponsors. Of course, we'll see you on Wednesday when we do Star Wars proper. If you don't think we don't have Star Wars stuff to talk about, you're wrong. We have lots to talk about. Star Wars isn't just hanging around one show. There's a lot of stuff going on. So
that's right.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. I gotta go have some dinner now and relax a little bit. So with that, Scott,
keep it nerdy, everybody.
Bye.
Watch it.
This is Grand Admiral Thrawn. You are listening to the Sarlacc Digest. What a fascinating play on words.